What are the best PS5 games of 2024 so far? Well, let's find out. Hey there everyone, Aiden here from Push Square with a breakdown of the best this year. This is the third installment in our year-round top 10 ranking, so if you want to see how this list has evolved and which games have been knocked out of our top 10, then I'll link the previous parts down below. But this is for sure the biggest mix-up we've had to the list so far, so let's see which games have caught our attention in 2024. Stellar Blade is first, the console debut of Shift Up, bringing slick melee action along with a stellar looking sci-fi universe. This game is very PS3 era coded with linear missions, awesome locations, gruesome enemies, and fairly simplistic upgrade paths. It had that chilling out to a new game on a Saturday morning type vibe to it, which made it a game I wasn't previously interested in, but actually played all the way through to the credits. There is the odd wee area where things falter, like the kinda bland open world areas or some of the awkward feeling platforming, but the general feel to combat was fantastic and it looks brilliant on the PS5. Talking about PS3 era, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 felt like it recaptured the good old days of gaming with awesome sci-fi universes, gory explosive combat, and deathly cool looking Space Marines decked out with customizable armor. Like an honorary Gears of War making its way to PS5, Space Marine 2 takes the horde tech from World War Z and applies it to the skittering Xenos, making for some blood-speckled, tense action, even more so on those higher difficulties. And the game has that trifecta of single-player, co-op, and multiplayer with a full campaign, 6 replayable co-op missions, and a 6v6 PvP mode, yet another reason to cast our minds back to the good old days of gaming. It is an easy-going game in a way, but there are levels and weapons to grind if you really want to, and just on a personal note, I had a great time with this one. Likely to be the fighter of the year, Tekken 8 is one of the earliest releases of 2024, but is going strong in our third game of the year list. After what seemed like back-to-back-to-back fighters with Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, Tekken 8 stands out from the crowd with an entertaining campaign, incredible graphics, tweaks to gameplay, and a solid online offering with the arcade. Put together, we have a fighter that can be more than just a little bit of fun when your mates are over, which it can be too. This is also the return of a long-running franchise that still manages to feel new and fresh and retain the look and feel of those nostalgic days with its bright colours and authentic character design. The most immersive RPG of the lot, Dragon's Dogma 2 is about going with the flow. Taking to a monster-filled landscape, you'll venture across roads, woodlands, mountains and caves with your hearty squad of followers. The pawn system is really Dragon's Dogma 2's shining star, as you can not only make your own pawn designing their look, traits and upgrades, but you can hire your friends' pawns to join you in your adventures. There's a very team spirit vibe to Dragon's Dogma 2, whether your own pawn is going off in adventures with your actual mates and bringing back knowledge and treasure, or you're just enjoying some questing banter when on the road. It's a game that forces you to take in your surroundings and feel essentially really grounded to its world, which is something I really appreciate. A hallmark classic of the PS2, Persona 3 Reload is a stellar remake that brings this Atlas adventure up to the standards of Persona 5 Royal, with some of the most immaculate menu design you have ever seen, a banger of a soundtrack, and the same old adventure you know and love. With the iconic time management system, you'll be splitting your time between relationships and school during the day and hunting creatures during the dark hour with the Seers group. If you're into your older Shin Megami Tensei, the newer Persona games, or even the brand new metaphor ReFantazio, then you'll likely love your time with Persona 3 Reload like we did. Helldivers 2 was previously in the top spot for our game of the year, but as you can tell, it's taken a bit of a tumble since. This list isn't just about discussing the game's core quality, it's about their lasting impact as well. The August update wasn't quite what we were hoping for, which 6 months into a live service game like this does mean it takes a bit of a hit. But of course, at the same time, we cannot deny Helldivers 2's core experience is some of the best co-op fun that we've had in years. And I'm still holding out hope that we get some form of content that can bring us back to the fold. I personally have over 50 hours of hilarity just from the base game at launch, and it's genuinely some of the most fun that I have had with my mates. It's tense, it's funny, and it's cinematic. Metaphor ReFantazio is another new addition to the list, and a game that marks a brand new IP from the creators of Persona 3, 4 and 5. With a fantasy setting, you have all the hallmarks of an Atlas experience with stellar menu design, slick turn-based combat, incredible music, a sprawling adventure, and of course plenty of dungeons to conquer. It's clear in all the ways in which Metaphor has been shaped and moulded by classics of the past, but it's undeniably injecting a bit more energy into the JRPG genre. It's also just thrilling to see such a high caliber brand new IP make its way onto the PS5 and immediately cement itself in the upper echelons of our list. Another early launch in 2024, still holding strong all this time later, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth has somehow managed to up the ante on this ridiculously strong franchise. It's split between two different regions, you have two different protagonists as well, with a pretty heartfelt story at its centre, and of course a myriad of weird and wonderful side activities to keep you plenty entertained. Then there's this Dondoko Island for those that love to manage their own little space, just in case the rest of the game wasn't quite enough content for you. Honestly, if you're into your Yakuza or Like a Dragon games, then you know what you're getting yourself into. So think that, but the best the franchise has ever been, and you get Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Jumping right up the list, we have Silent Hill 2, the Bloober Team remake of the 2001 PS2 classic. This has to be one of the biggest shocks of the year. We've had some big remakes come and go, but this one just seemed destined to fail. A really specific sort of niche remake that felt almost too tailored to the time, and a dev team that has never quite reached its full potential. Well, Silent Hill 2 completely blew us away with stellar graphics, insane sound design, and genuinely some of the best uses of haptics that I have seen in the PS5, certainly within the horror genre. But what's better is that for fans of the original, it still feels like Silent Hill 2 in a lot of ways, and for newbies to the franchise like myself, I've been having the most fun working my way through this game. It is slow and methodical, tense and eerie, and has some incredible lighting. Genuinely, no other game does darkness quite like Silent Hill 2 on PS5. If you were on the fence about this remake, like I was when I saw the trailers and gameplay, this is your sign to check this game out. You knew what it was going to be, didn't you? Astro Bot is sitting pretty up top as our current contender for Game of the Year. This phenomenal platformer was everything we hoped it would be, and by far the most delightful game of the year. Team Isobe has taken what it did so well with Astro's Playroom and expanded it out to the size of a full game. Exploring galaxies with hope of finding your lost robot friends, you will take on colourful levels filled with unique mechanics, some of which are only there for a singular level. The game is endlessly inventive, but pushing things a bit further is that it has a clear affinity for all things PlayStation, with many of your robot buddies dressed up as iconic characters, and each galaxy having its own final mission styled around a specific PlayStation franchise. I merrily platinumed this game and had a massive smile on my face the whole time, and it rightly deserves the top spot of our latest Game of the Year video. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We've just got one of these videos left to cover the games of 2024. So how do you think that final lineup is going to look? Are there any upcoming releases that could shift the scale? Anything that could dethrone Astro Bot? Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video when it drops around the new year. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.